some reasons. Okay. Okay, so the question is, we are currently upgrading from 11.204 to 19C and changing the character set from W8 ISO 8859P1 to AL32 UTF-8. Running DMU under 19C took 12 hours. Would it be better to just upgrade as 11G using the SQL scripts? Would that be faster? First, a question that we have is this 12 hours the total running time for the conversion? So which is it like upgrade to the next database, or just DMU scanning and conversion, or just conversion? It would be interesting to know why it took so long. In general, if you want to I mean, you can always rehearse doing a migration using traditional path data with data pump, but for a database that mainly US7 ASCII, so that there are not that many data to convert, I doubt it will be faster. So this 12 hours is interesting to know. Why? I mean, where the time was spent. The follow-up question is, I was prompted several times for tables that did not convert cleanly and materialized views that needed to be recreated with varchar 2 char instead of byte. So I mean, you was prompted before conversion, I guess, or you are, so the DMU has actually complained, I guess, that it cannot convert cleanly such tables, because during conversion, if you have done the scanning phase and the cleansing phase earlier, then you should only be prompted for recreation of materialized views, because this is indeed something that after source tables were touched in some way changed, right? You will have to recreate the materialized views, because this is how the materialized views feature works, right? If they are serious changes on the tables that the materialized views is based on, then you usually have to recreate the view from scratch, and you cannot use like fast refresh, because there are some structural changes, and the materialized view gets invalidated and needs to be basically recreated. However, I don't quite understand what you mean by being prompted several times for tables that did not convert cleanly. So I would need to know the actual error message that you get, or the warning.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Probably I didn't clean up all the data that I should have before I started running the actual conversion phase. We're still in the testing phase of doing the conversion, and based on that, I'm just trying to figure out the best way to do that. When we get to the actual production, we have 8 development databases running our in-house application. It just seems like, from what I've seen from the testing, I guess I need to do more of the cleaning, and maybe it'll actually run faster when it's not stopping to prompt me that something isn't converting cleanly. I wish I could just tell it to ignore those errors, at least just go through and run it straight through, because we seem to have some data in some of our varchar fields that are just garbage data.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, you have so generally the process is, as I mentioned, 3 phases, right? One is scanning, and this should, for a given moment in time, should give you all the issues that there are in the database that prevent successful conversion to. So you get a report with that will tell you all columns that have some problem, like garbage data or length issues. Basically, these are these two main issues that you may have, right? So after that, there is the cleansing phase, right? And in the cleansing phase, you have the way to schedule various cleansing actions that will happen during conversion, right? So for length issues, you can say, okay, during conversion, I want this column to switch to character length semantics, or become, instead of 20 bytes, become 40 bytes, right? Whatever. You need to decide for each column that has any length issue what you want to do. For like one of the thing that customers sometimes do is simply go to character length semantics for the whole application, right? Which saves them some work with making columns longer, but some other will prefer to keep the semantics with byte semantics, and then they have to go through all the columns with the length issues and manually schedule the new length. It won't happen immediately, so you can do this upfront. You don't have to do this in the actual downtime window where you have no time, right? So you do this upfront. It is noted in the repository, and it will be applied during the conversion. So actually, conversion should not even start when you have some tables that have any problem. For invalid representation data, so like, as you say, garbage, one of the cleansing actions that you can actually schedule is to either to ignore the problems, right? And then the conversion will happen, and whatever garbage data you have, it will be converted with simply what the conversion function does to this data. So if it is the garbage data, then you will get a garbage result, but the conversion will happen and the MU will not complain. The other possibility is that for certain type of garbage data from the character set perspective, this garbage is actually not really garbage. So you may have encrypted columns that are incorrectly stored in varchar 2, right? So the encrypt bytes of the binary sequences that are the encryption result are stored in varchar 2. They are not legal varchar 2 data, but still they are stored there. If you have such columns, you can tell DMU, as again a scheduled action, to leave this column, the given column, untouched. And DMU will simply copy it or not simply update it, depending on the conversion method. And then you can keep your data unchanged. So you can either keep the data unchanged, or you can say that you want columns to be problems to be ignored, and then the DMU will for invalid representation data will simply convert garbage into garbage, and for length issues will truncate. So it will simply make the put whatever fits into the column, and any excess data after conversion will be simply blindly truncated, right? You will look some data at the end of the strings. So you can do this everything. You can do this up earlier, right? You can prepare for this, and then in the actual conversion, the scanning results should be clean, because each scanning, if you rescan the database, each scanning takes all these scheduled cleansing actions into consideration. So if you have already told don't touch this column, then DMU will not scan this column, right? Or at least will not complain. May scan actually the column, but will not complain about this column when you start conversion. For length issues, if you schedule the column to be longer, then when it scans, it will actually take this scheduled length into consideration. We're looking for issues, not the original length. It will look at whatever is scheduled, and then the conversion should just work, right? you need to remember that by default, DMU will actually update all things that need to be updated. For some tables, especially those with a lot of CLOB data, it may be very time-consuming, and you may then consider manually setting the conversion method for those tables from update method to create table as select. Right? The create table as select method has certain limitations. Basically, we don't move over, because create table as select, of course, creates a copy, right? So it creates a copy of the table that is converted and drops the original. However, the DMU won't move all auxiliary objects that are associated with this table. It will move some of them. It will complain about existence of some other, like FGA policies or VPD policies or things like this. We won't move them automatically. We will expect them to be removed, or actually not even, probably we will expect them to be removed before we continue. And there is always a risk that there are some newest features that are also added with PLSQL packages that DMU is not aware of, and we are not aware of, and then they won't be copied simply. So they will die together with the original version of the table. It won't be moved. So if you have anything advanced that was added in like recent database versions like 18C, for example, then it's worth checking that it is correctly copied to the new table. So there are risks associated with the CTAS method, create table as select method. However, for many tables, especially those with CLOBs, it may be much faster than the update method.
In my case, I just wrote dynamic SQL that changed all the varchar columns from being stored as byte to being stored as character, because it seemed to work best for our application. So after doing that, we're just getting a few tables that have some data that were maybe pulled from email that they're not really valid characters. Is there an easy way to write an update statement once I identify the tables and columns that have that bad data to just eliminate the bad data without, eliminating the good data? Just to focus on the characters that aren't translatable.
I mean, it's if you have some characters that are bad data and you have a P1 database, right? So the first question is, because what we usually suspect in such case is that these bad characters are Windows characters, right? So these are like smart quotes and en dash,
sure.
em dash, right? For those, you should actually not try to repair them. We have another feature that is much more useful to it. If you know that your database is kind of always, the data comes from like Windows clients, right? And you just had the client side and the database side set to the same P1 character set, right? So the WE8 ISO 8859 P1 character set. Then you have so-called pass-through configuration, in which case the Windows characters, which are actually characters from the WE8 MSWin 1251 code page, right? Then 52, sorry, 1252 code page. Then these characters can be easily converted to Unicode if you tag your whole database or the problematic columns. It depends on the actual content in the database. You can tag the column or the database with this actual character set, the real character set, not the one that is declared, but the one that is really for the valid for the data, which in your case will be very probably WE8 MSWin 1252. And if you mark those columns, then DMU will do the conversion from 1252 code page and not from P1. So all these characters will be actually saved. You don't have to lose them. It's
okay,
one of the,
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, this is a quite powerful feature of DMU, that you can kind of override whatever was in correctly declared a long time ago, right? The same feature is used for situations where there are databases where that are declared with the same character set that you have, but actually they have Arabic inside, right? Or whatever other language inside, exactly with the same method of entering this, right? The client setting NLS lang is set to the character set of the database P1. However, the client actually does not talk in P1. It talks in some other Windows code page. If these are Arabic windows, then it will be Arabic code page 1256, right? If it is whatever Russian, it will be 1251, and so on and so on. In each of these cases, you can tag the affected column or the database as the whole. If this problem is like goes over all columns, so it's common for the whole database, then it's much quicker to simply set the assumed, we call it assumed character set. It's either the assumed database character set or the assumed column character set. You can then set it, and then the conversion and also the scanning will also happen for the assumed character set, not for the declared. So the declared is the default, right? But if you override it, then it will look at the database with new eyes.
Can you don't have an example of how, or you can't do it? Can you do a demonstration on how to set the assumed character set for column and DMU?
You can certainly find it in documentation. As far as a demonstration is concerned, maybe a bit problematic at the moment because I don't have anything ready. Let me see. I can try to. I can see if I can do some quick demonstration. Okay, I have some database running. Let me start DMU. This is SQL Developer. This is DMU. I'm not sure if I have everything now that is needed to actually run the demonstration.
I did do a web search. I found an Oracle document that describes how to do that.
So yeah, so certainly you can look at there is a DMU documentation on the web, and actually you should got one with the DMU download anyway. Sure. Let me just. It may be a bit problematic at the moment. I don't know, Wayran, do you have anything like quickly accessible for a short demo of the DMU?
Not right now. I need to set something up.
Okay, let me see if I can do something like in 3 minutes. Then we will try this. Okay, I am afraid it would be requiring too much time of everybody waiting online and getting bored. So if you want, I can prepare some presentation, some demo for the next office hours in December. I will probably have something ready anyway, because I see that we can always get a question from DMU about DMU interface, and if I don't have anything ready to connect, because I can start the interface, but without connecting to any database where I have a repository and some maybe test data and so on, then it is kind of difficult to to really demonstrate. And now I just try to log in, and I have a CDB database, and I don't have a connection to PDB configured properly. So it will take me probably 15 minutes or something like this to set it up. So it's not enough time to do this. So if you want, I can, or anyway, I will have some environments ready next month. So if you connect and ask me the question again, then I will be able to show it. But as I said, there should be something in the documentation about it. Generally, the assumed character set for the database is set in the database properties, right? So you select the database node, you select properties, and then I think in the scanning tab, you should be able to set the assumed database character set. For columns, you can do this in the column properties, but you can also do this when you look at the table in the data editor feature that you can open for any user column, for any user table, right? Then you can select the column by clicking on the header of the column, and then there is a pop-up list with character sets in the toolbar of this data editor, and then you can select the character set there, right? And this will be the column assumed character set. So the one that you will see there is the default one, which is the database character set, or the assumed database character set. So either the real database character set or the assumed database character set, and you can override it for each column separately. Right. I'm just seeing some links that you have exchanged with Wayran. So the one that we see is doc 11. So this is like the one that you have is for old database version. So this is also the older DMU version. So you should preferably work with the newest one, which is 19.1. And this one, the documentation is will be on the DMU site. And we support certainly we support 19C, and I think we still support, or do we? I don't remember if 19.1 still supports 11. Wayran, do you remember? What's the oldest one that we support in 19.1? I can actually check it quickly. DMU.
Yes, the latest supported version is 19.1.
Which one is the oldest one that we support with 19.1? Which the oldest
11,
database version?
Database 11.204.
Okay, so the one that that Brian has is also supported by the newest DMU. But we would suggest that you try to migrate the newest on the newest release. I guess it's safer for any bugs that you may encounter or things like this. It will be much easier to fix them in the newest releases than try to backport something to something as old. I think 11.2 is no longer supported really. So except for maybe extended support contracts. So it's better to have this done on the newest releases. So first upgrade the database and then the character set. Unless you do the both things with data pump, but for this path we don't have really still we don't have enough support from DMU, right? So you can use DMU to look at the issues that you will encounter, but you can hardly do anything with DMU to prevent them. You have to either clean up the database earlier before the migration, or you have to pre-create the schema and fix it before doing the actual data import. So we don't have a good automated migration method with data pump currently. It's probably better to first simply upgrade the database version and then continue the upgrade project on 19C and do the character set migration with DMU. Okay. Does this answer your question for the moment, except for the missing presentation that I was unfortunately not prepared to do? Okay. So you can always ask questions through the interface, Ask Tom interface. I mean, not the Ask Tom question, but you can schedule questions for the next office hours in 1 month. For certain short questions, I may be able to answer them quicker. You can always go to the TMU space on the community Oracle.com. We monitor the space as well, so if you ask a question there, you can expect an answer as well. And of course, there is always the official channel through Oracle support if you want to go that way. Okay, do we have any further questions today?